Good day, everybody. Bobby and Jai with Time to Get Going. How you doing today? I'm doing just fine. I met up with a local resident out here that has a story about, well, I'll just let him tell you the story. His name is Will. He's got more information about it than I do.
Hi, I'm Will. Live out near Gila Bend, Arizona, and this is one of two memorial sites remembering the Oatman family that was massacred out here in March of 1851. They were Mormon pioneers traveling from Missouri, trying to make their way to San Diego, or the Southern California region. And as they came up on the plateau behind me, they were met by Native Americans, and they was a altercation of sorts, and the parents were actually murdered there, and their daughters were kidnapped. There was a surviving son who made his way back to civilization and was able to tell the story. Several years would pass by before the eldest daughter, Olive Oatman, was discovered and reunited with her brother up near Oatman, Arizona. So also behind Bob here is Oatman Peak, and so this whole region is called Oatman Flats. That's the heritage of the region.
And you mentioned something about that cut going up through the...
Yeah. This was actually, the original trails were pioneered from the Mormon battalion during the Civil War. Later on, it would be the Four family, I believe is how you pronounce it, would settle the area, and there was a stagecoach stop about 2 miles east of here, with the trail leading along the river bottom where we're at, up onto this plateau behind us. You can kind of see, it might be a little difficult to see where the light rock is cutting up the hill. That's one of the remains of the wagon trail that we'll be able to see once we get up to the higher memorial site.
And I'll try to zoom in on that on edit and see if we can capture it. The first building we went by, the rock building, that
was one of the stage stops. So that's where they would, team of horses would come and be traded out, and give people a time to rest from being bounced around inside of a stagecoach.
Quite a humble little building.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll travel on and
no wagon on that one.
yeah, I heard a little bit about the story of this morning. It's what prompted us to come check it out, and it was quite a gruesome story. Okay, this is the site of the actual massacre, February 18, 1851. And this is unbelievable terrain that they had to come up with their wagons. And back in the day, these people generally would walk with the wagon to keep the load off their animals so they could stretch out their daily travel. And if you can only imagine well over 100 degrees here. Southern Arizona is pretty bad. Pretty
coming off these rocks.
Yeah, these
too.
black rocks. Yeah,
You
yeah,
look right
clearly.
here, and we can see the wear patterns
Oh, look
in the
at
rock
that.
from the wagon
Yeah.
wheels.
They had to break wheels, all kinds of problems trying to come up through this. Somebody was physically removing rocks and keeping the trail open. You can see all the rocks that are piled off to the sides.
There's a couple more cuts in the rocks down here from the every ledge that the wheel comes up to, having to force it by hand.
Yeah, you can see here in the stone. Wow. And it's really kind of hard to really give you a reference on these steps, but I'm gonna be right in the light. But I mean, if you look at my hand in reference to how tall each of these are, and they've got to climb over this. Yeah, just here in the next 20 feet, it makes a 6-foot climb.
Mm-hmm. And if we look right down there, we can see the turnabout that we did for the more recent placed memorial site.
Okay, now, in that video that we had seen about this, the survivor fell off of a cliff. Is it that one right there in front of us?
They don't know if he stumbled and fell, or if he was pushed and, you know, basically pushed off by the attackers, but he would have fallen down all these sharp rocks, you know, 50, 80 feet in some places, tumbling. That's volcanic rock, and you know, just imagine having to fall down that after being bludgeoned with clubs.
Right, beaten nearly to death. So, how far did it say he traveled from here to find help?
He would have gone to, I believe, what they were calling, I forgot, the Pima villages, and I believe that's out near Santan, which is over 100 miles away from here.
Oh my goodness.
He was actually nursed a little bit by a more peaceful tribe. There was another tribe that had, you know, passerbys that saw him in his condition, and they don't know how long they nursed him, but he was nursed for a bit, and I think he just had an episode where, you know, he realized that he was around natives, and then, you know, his only prior experience with natives was them beating him, so he didn't know if these were good guys or bad guys, and he felt that he had to escape, and once he was well enough, he escaped that tribe and made it back over towards
Now, Olive and her sister were captured by the Indians that beat their family to death.
Yes.
And eventually the sister passed away.
Yeah, so they were enslaved, basically, by the tribe that, or the members of the tribe that beat the family. Then, through trades with the Mojave Indians, a Mojave princess saw the girls in their condition and pleaded with her father to work a trade with the tribe that had captured these girls. And over time, they had ended up working a deal, and the Mojave Indians actually took the girls in, and they became part of their community. They were accepted in there. And later on in Olive Oatman's life, she had done some things that kind of hint towards her desire to go back and possibly still live, you know, with the Mojave. It seemed like she might have preferred that lifestyle over, you know, 1800s civilized society.
Due to the fact that she had been put through misery with the Indians and tattooed.
Yeah, that she had the famous picture of her, as she has her chin tattooed with some stripes coming down. And that has been found out that wasn't originally it was written that that was a mark of a slave, but that was actually a tattoo given to her by the Mojave tribe, and that is a sign that she was accepted in as a member. And it, I can't, say factually, but that it's thought that that is a something they would see in the afterlife, so they would recognize family by having this tattoo. So it's not a mark of a slave. If you look at some of the photographs of the Mojave at the time, a lot of the tribes people had similar tattoos. So it wasn't the Apache that marked their slave. It was actually the Mojave that showed that she was family.
Now, as we were discussing, there was a recent TV series
Oh yeah,
that was put out that you say
the,
loosely.
yeah. There's a character in the TV series Hell on Wheels that was on TV some years ago. There was a character there that she had the tattoo on her chin, and her backstory, the TV character's backstory was that she was captured by Native Americans and she was enslaved, and then basically once she was discovered by white man again, she was, had to work as a prostitute because she was considered a tainted woman, that people wanted, that white man wanted to accept her. So we pushed her to the edges of our society in that way.
But she eventually was.
Well, the real Olive Oatman in real life, once she was reunited with her brother, would go back east, and eventually she married a prominent cattleman, a fairly wealthy guy, and they resided in Texas. And there's not much about her later life. For a little bit of time after her rescue, she was a bit of a national celebrity, and there was some books written about her at the time, but a lot of them are filled with the xenophobia, some people, the fear of Native Americans, and just a lot of the untruths people had spread about how the savages act and the way they treated women.
So panning across the valley where they came from, and knowing that the temperatures exceed 100 degrees daily here. I mean, it's
in March it's definitely in the 90s. It's getting to hundreds. It's by 10 o'clock in the morning. It's well into 90-degree temperatures. And then this, you got to think, it took them probably hours to get their team of horses and wagons, what they were carrying, up this several hundred feet of rock.
Unbelievable. And I was just showing you that up here this is the highest peak around here.
Oatman is the highest on this mountain range.
Okay, so that's where all of the local
it's a bunch of
cell towers and communications, everything is located up there on top of that hill now. And it is named after this family that was massacred. It's called Oatman.
Oatman Peak, and then this is the Oatman Flats. And then across the valley, if you can see that road coming down, the base of that is the family plot for the pioneers of the area, and that is the road that was carved, I believe, in 1854, it said.
Yeah. Okay, well, I thank you very much for bringing me out here and showing me this. This is so educational. It's nostalgic to me. I mean, we're talking.
As I'm looking around, I see a actual marking on that rock over there. I'm gonna go look at that. I mean, this is a trail was traveled quite a bit. It was an established stage route for the Butterfield stagecoach. It was just not recommended that you travel in small parties, and that's where the Oatman family made their mistake, was just the one family traveling solo.
We have to walk here kind of like twinkle toes because this is heavy duty rattlesnake country. And we're in their prime habitat.
think that says JE51, and that's a possibility that was scraped in 1851. There is the Painted Rock petroglyph site several miles away from here, where there are, you know, not only just native petroglyphs, but inscribed initials and dates back to the 1800s for where the stage passed.
Just so you know, Will and I are walking around out here in 100-degree temperature to share this with you all. See something else on that one.
Oh, look at that. There's a circle and a body.
Yep.
So that could be an indicator of a crosses and arrows and marks like that are indicators of, you know, there could be a burial site around here.
And that's obviously Indian markings there.
Yep. I mean, imagine having to come back to this site to find your family, their bodies sitting in the sun for months on end. By that time he was able to come back.
Yeah, by the time he went the distance he had to go to get out of here, his family, obviously you look around here, you can't dig in this to bury him. This is all rock. Everything is rock, as you saw on the hill where they were coming up with their wagon trains. Okay, I want to thank Will for his bringing me out here and us being able to share this with everybody. We hope you find it interesting. It's just very nostalgic to me. Hope you like our content. If you hit the like and subscribe, I appreciate it. This is Bobby and Jive. Time to get going. Out.